What's happening, people? I hope you're all well. So, how has social media changed relationships? Well, it's changed relationships, and in a big way. Relationships were very, very different prior to the age of social media. Before the time of social media, if you had an argument with your spouse, you didn't have the option to just go into your room and flip open Tinder and start scrolling away at new potentials. Or say you were courting someone and you've been courting for about 3 to 4 months and he or she did something that was annoying, that annoyed you. You didn't have the option of checking your direct messages on Instagram. So I say that to say this: social media has changed relationships in a big way. And I don't think it's for the better. Social media comes with its advantages, definitely. Like, I can keep in contact with family members who live really far away, and I can see kind of what they're getting up to. And so social media definitely has its positives, but like all things, positives and drawbacks. So social media has a negative impact for the most part, in my opinion, for relationships. Never before have we been able to flip open our phones and literally just look at 20 potential prospects like in a minute. If I really wanted to, I could flip open Tinder and I could look at 20 new potential prospects in a minute. That is unprecedented, historically speaking. And not only that, I can go on certain dating websites and I can narrow down the search results to the height that I'm looking for, the age that I'm looking for, the ethnicity that I'm looking for, whether that woman has children or not. I can really narrow it down to exactly what I want or what I'm looking for. When in history have we been able to do that? It's unprecedented. So social media has changed the game. Social media and dating websites have changed the game. But I genuinely believe it's not a positive, because I'm going to look at it more like what men are dealing with when it comes to women, just for a second. Just stay with me for a second here. This tends to be more about when men are dealing with women, this point I'm about to make. Because women are the approached and men are the approachers, women are now able to peacock themselves. And when I say that, I mean as in peacocking literally just means, I don't want to say advertising because that's not the right word, but in a way we are all advertising. You know, when we go and look at our best, we're advertising. So women are able to put themselves in places where they are now accessible to men that they were just not accessible to before. And I'm not trying to objectify women. I'm just saying that women, they create an Instagram profile, they create a Tinder profile, they create a TikTok profile, and that can now be seen by famous people. And the thing about famous people is that they got to be dating someone. So famous people will often have a rotation, and someone's got to be in that rotation. So what I'm saying is that a lot of famous people are now a lot of famous people are now messaging women on social media and dating websites. A lot of famous people are messaging women on dating websites and social media. And what this means is that a lot of women are now flocking towards the famous people. So the famous people have got like 10, 20, 30 women that they're dealing with at any one time in terms of the men. And women now have access to these men. In the 1950s, 1960s, 70s, unless you were in those circles, you did not have access to those famous men. And so what this means is that a lot of women are having experiences with these famous men. And when they come to you, maybe in their mid-30s, a lot of these women, they will come to you because they want to settle down. These famous guys are not looking to settle down with, or they're harder for a woman to lock down and settle down with. So if a famous guy's got 10, 20 women that he's dealing with at any one time, the chances of those women, any one of those women locking that man down into a long-term relationship is slim. So a lot of these women are having experiences with famous people, famous men, and they're coming back, you know, in their 30s maybe, and they're looking to settle down. That's normally the age it seems to be when people think about settling down. And you men, me included, we can't provide those same experiences. We don't have the penthouse. We don't have $1 million to spend in a day. We don't have multiple homes in different countries. We don't have a glamorous lifestyle. I'm not saying I'm poor. I'm not poor, but unless you're, I want to say, an 8 out of 10 in terms of the sexual market value, in terms of the sexual marketplace, if you're anywhere from like a 4 out of 10 to a 7 out of 10, you're in the average range, and that's most men, me included. You know, most of us are somewhere in the middle. And so if you're somewhere in the middle, you can't provide those experiences that a lot of women have already experienced. And what this means is that a lot of these relationships are not lasting, because it's very hard to be satisfied with less when you've had more. And that's not a slight on women. We're all, I don't want to say victim, but we're all subject to the times we're living in. So to round off that point, a lot of women, they're experiencing the good life with a lot of famous and rich men. Those men are not settling down with those women. Those women have now got to settle down with a guy who's maybe a bit more average. Nothing wrong with him. And just human nature, when you've had Bella, it's hard to settle for less. And if you do settle for less, you're not going to be satisfied with it. And eventually you're going to have enough. You're going to have had enough. You know, you're going to say you've had enough of it. So that's a negative for social media and dating apps. And overall, it just puts a strain on things, because if the option's not there, you're not going to think about it. You know, if I'm having a bad time with a woman, and I know that there's plenty of fish, there's Tinder, what are the other ones? You know, Badoo, Bumble, I think. I mean, it's crazy. I can't even name all of them. If there's all these dating websites, and I know, and I'm seeing a woman, and we've had a few arguments, I'm looking at all these dating apps. I'm checking my Instagram messages, my Facebook messages, and I'm getting messages, and I'm thinking, well, she's not giving me drama, but she is. But if this didn't exist, if the social media and the dating apps didn't exist, it wouldn't even come into my mind. So I'm saying that it is a negative, because where a lot of people would have just tried to work their way through things, now they're saying, do you know what, I've got all these options. You know, that's both sexes. You know, before the thought of jumping ship wouldn't have come into your mind because the option wasn't there. So I think that social media overall has had a negative impact on relationships. Plus, there's also the negative of everyone knowing your business. You know, we all tend to post on social media, so everyone knows your business, and everyone, you know, some of the people who pretend to be your friend but not really your friend, they're gonna try and use what you put on social media against you. And they're going to try and, you know, say to you, well, you know, my boyfriend's doing this. What, your boyfriend, he took you here, my boyfriend took me here. And then it becomes like a competition. You know, people can stir the pot. People can look at what you've got. If you are genuinely happy, you know, you're happy, you're posting it on social media. people don't like it because they're not happy, they're going to try and ruin your relationship. So overall, I think social media has changed the game, because now people have more options than ever, especially women, because women are the ones who get approached. And in a way, if you're the one who's being approached, you have the power, actually. But people have more options than ever. This means that people are not seeing things out and trying to tough things out and work through things. People can see if you're living a good life, and they're going to try and ruin it potentially if they're not happy with their life. And also, things can be a little bit more fake as well without you realizing it. You're trying to put on a front for social media. And, you know, that can kind of translate into your relationship as well. But anyway, let me know what you think about what I said here. Do you think social media has changed the game for relationships for the worst? Let me know. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, hit the notification bell so you get a notification when I make a new video. If you appreciate my work and want to leave a donation, there's a link for that in the description. With that, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next one.